The Disney whistleblower we told you about on Friday has indeed come forth. An affidavit has landed, and now Disney may be landing in very big trouble, perhaps even to the point of congressional hearings upcoming. It also points out that Disney is definitely, and without doubt, a very partisan company, and perhaps now it is time for folks to begin wondering what exactly is going on behind the scenes at the House of Mouse. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we continue to uncover and bring forth the news as best we can in the most accurate way possible. We've been doing quite well on this channel over the past 2 years or so. We're nearing that 2-year mark at the end of the year. We suspect that part of the success here is just due to the fact that we believe in bringing you the facts as best we possibly can. We have two collaborators with us today who are very good at that indeed. Both writers for That Park Place. John, of course, is the editor-in-chief of the website. John, welcome back to the channel.
Good to be here.
And Marvin is a writer for That Park Place, as well as the host of Tooneytown TV and Tooneytown Wrestling. Marvin, welcome.
Hello, hello.
Let's get into it, gentlemen. Here we go. This is from Bill Ackman. Folks, this is going to be about that debate that you saw not so long ago, although as fast as the news cycle moves, sometimes it's easy to lose exactly what was going on just 2 days ago. But this is huge. It says, why has David Muir not responded to the accusations leveled by the whistleblower? One has to draw a negative inference. And what it's talking about is David Muir had this to say at the beginning of the debate. Folks, I want to preface this by letting you know that we are not partisan here. We are not political. This goes far beyond the political. This goes far beyond the partisan. This is, I think, deeply philosophical, and it's imperative that we get to the point of not having collusion behind the scenes between corporations and candidates. Otherwise, we risk interference with some of the most important processes in our society. Here's what he had to say.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or questions have been shared with the campaigns.
What we're finding out, though, is that may not have been true. We'll get to the whistleblower affidavit in just a moment, but here's what Dana Walden, who is the very, very good friend of Kamala Harris, and she's the head of Disney TV, which is over ABC News. Here's what she had to say last night when she was asked about this question of whether or not there was an organized effort to damage one candidate and lift another up and break the rules of the debate between Disney and, those they want to win. Here we go.
Got to talk about Kamala Harris. Obviously, the far right has come after you, saying you're friend.
Folks, will show you it's not whatever the far right is that's coming after her in this video. I promise. We've got former Clinton advisors who are appalled at what might be coming forth this week.
Friends with her, so the debate was biased. What do you say to that?
I really don't want to dignify it with much of a response. I have the highest regard for everyone at ABC News. It's the most professional organization, the most top-notch journalists, and it doesn't really dignify much of a response.
Hey, John, have you ever burned down a house?
No.
Okay, that was easy, wasn't it, John? You didn't have to say that doesn't dignify a response. It's funny how that works. Marvin, I bet you've never run over old ladies outside a nursing home, correct?
Not intentionally, no.
Okay, good point. Good point. Little caveat there. So, but what we've got from Dana here is a very interesting way of responding to this. We'll play it one more time, folks. I want you to notice that she pauses, she looks up and to the right, and I guarantee you, if there are parents out there listening to this video, you know that when your child, and when you say, "Did you reach your hand in the cookie jar?" you know if they pause and look to the right, that's not a good sign. And for those of you with 16 or 17-year-old daughters, and you say, "Were you out with so-and-so last night?" if their response is, "That doesn't even dignify a response," the grounding is on the way. We'll watch it one more time, folks, but pay close attention to when she says that doesn't dignify a response. That is essentially a ploy to take the moral high ground to say, "I'm not going to answer this question." Here we go.
Got to talk about Kamala Harris. Obviously, the far right has come after you, saying you're friends with her, so the debate was biased. What do you say to that?
I really don't want to dignify it with much of a response. I have the highest regard for everyone at ABC News. It's the most professional organization, the most top-notch journalists, and it doesn't really dignify much of a response.
Marvin, did she ever address the question at all?
No, and the question that was being asked, I think it's important to note. You heard the kind of apologetic way he's even asking it. She was not blindsided by this. This was definitely had to have been a coordinated question between Disney and Variety, because Variety will do the bidding of Disney every single time. She did not answer the question, and the question was not even. It was about, oh, do you think that you're biased because of your friendship with Kamala Harris? It wasn't like, hey, there's a whistleblower that's saying that you guys gave the Harris campaign all the questions before the debate. They're not even asking her the real question.
Right. I want to go through this, and I'll get your thoughts on it, John. This is from the whistleblower. And folks, when we came out and said that there was a whistleblower on the way over the weekend, we had to do that with a little bit of hedging. We thought our sources were correct, that this was going to be legit. But if it had not come to pass, we'd be over here apologizing today and saying, well, it didn't happen. That's not the case, of course. The whistleblower did come forth. Whether or not that's going to get coverage in the next days from the mainstream media, much more tenuous there. We'll tell you why that might change, though. This is from Kyle Becker over on X. It says, breaking, ABC News whistleblower swears under penalty of perjury that the Harris campaign dictated the terms of the questions during the presidential debate. Furthermore, the Harris campaign insisted upon live fact-checking of Trump during the debate. ABC News fact-checked him at least 5 times, I counted 7, and did not fact-check Harris once. We also counted that they interrupted the former president 11 times and Harris 0 times, despite the Democrat candidate telling provable lies such as these hoaxes that it lists out. The whistleblower signed the affidavit in New York and has sent a copy to Speaker Mike Johnson, who's the head of the House Republicans. The notarized document states the unnamed individual states that he or she is in possession of secret recordings that will prove that ABC News rigged the debate. ABC News, and this says it committed, and I can't say this phrase in this video or else nobody's going to see it, committed EI, okay? This is a massive scandal.
Not AI.
Not AI, definitely not AI. And folks, I would just say too that if this had happened and it went the other way, this channel right here, the Pro channel, would be covering it, and we would be incensed that any kind of manipulation of the electorate had happened. Here's what the affidavit says. We'll run through these, and in particular, folks, think about what the implications are for Disney. If this breaks and becomes a huge story, and if the election doesn't go the way that clearly Disney wants it to go, then the Disney organization could be in huge trouble. ABC News could be stripped of its credentials in terms of having a spot at the press briefing rooms. You could see a huge collapse in credibility from Disney. All of this is not in the interest of shareholders, but seems to be in the interest of political powers. You'll see that there are areas that are blacked out. That's because the whistleblower fears for their life. It says, I have worked for ABC News for over 10 years in various technical and administrative positions. Since the acquisition of ABC News in 1996, I have observed significant transformations in the nature of news reporting at the organization. These changes suggest a shift from unbiased reporting to a model influenced by external factors. For the record, I do not endorse Trump in his capacity as candidate for the President of the United States. The intent of this affidavit is to address concerns regarding perceived biases within news reporting within my employer's debate that will be hosted on September 10th. In other words, this was written before the debate even occurred. Furthermore, the Harris campaign imposed restrictions on the scope of questioning, including no questions regarding the perceived health of Biden, no inquiries related to her tenure as Attorney General in San Francisco, no questions concerning her brother-in-law, Tony West, who faces allegations of embezzling billions of dollars in taxpayer funds and who may be involved in her administration if elected. It says, I have observed a pronounced bias against one candidate. It says this affidavit is executed to document and provide transparency regarding the issues of fairness and impartiality in the debate process and broader concerns about journalistic integrity at ABC News. It goes on to talk about the notarization of this and who this has been delivered to. But at the beginning of this video, we played ABC News, the debate moderator, saying that there have been no discussions with any of the organizations. John, it looks to me like if this affidavit is true and this person's willing to go to jail to testify that it is, it looks to me like there was tremendous coordination with the Harris campaign, and that what would you say? That subverted the Republican candidate because they apparently had no idea this was going on. Otherwise, they would not have participated. So, John, Disney is now seriously alleged to have violated major norms in American society. What do you make of all this?
I don't think it's really all that surprising. I think that this has been occurring for longer than what we expect, probably over a decade or more. I don't think that the Access Media is hiding any of their biases at all anymore. I mean, they might try and tell you, like David Muir says, that they weren't coordinating with the campaigns or providing questions to the campaigns beforehand. But I think we've already seen proof of that beforehand in previous debates. I forget who it was. I think it was another ABC news analyst moderated a debate previously, and she was giving the coordinating with, I think it was Joe Biden. So this isn't out of the ordinary.
About Donna Brazile, I believe.
Correct. Yes. Donna Brazile, I believe. Yes. So this isn't out of the ordinary. This is stuff that we've seen before. As far as the ramifications on the Disney company, I don't really think it has any, aside from maybe something that comes from maybe a congressional hearing or something like that. But even then, we've seen congressional hearings over the past, I don't know, 2 decades or more. They don't really do anything. They don't really change course. They kind of get memory hold. People don't remember them. People don't even know about them for the most part. So I don't really think that this will affect Disney long term. I think what's more interesting is the fact that you do have the investor who you originally brought this up is bringing this up. And if you recall, he actually sided with, I'm blanking on his name right now, Nelson Peltz during the proxy battle. I think that is where you might see some ramifications, where you do have more institutional investors such as that seeing what's going on, not liking what's happening with Disney, and they want to kind of wrest away that power that is clearly promoting one side over the other at this point. I think that is probably the more significant change that you might see rather than any kind of perception with the public. I think Disney's perception is constantly going down. It'll be marginal at this point, but I don't think that this has really any kind of ramifications.
So that's a really good point, though. Large. Disney's popularity has been driven down such that the people who still like Disney may be the same people who like that they did this. But Marvin, something else that I think is fascinating is, had it not been for Elon Musk purchasing X, I don't think we'd ever be allowed to talk about this.
Absolutely
I think
not.
This would be suppressed into oblivion. The fact that X exists and that we can talk about it means that this, which I think is on par with the laptop scandal 4 years ago, I think that this is a big, big story. And it really depends on how hard the right pushes this. We're not advocating for one side or the other, although I am advocating for transparency and truth in all elective processes, and this clearly was not that. It's the opposite of that. It's corruption at the highest levels. Marvin, do you think that this will be allowed? Or let me say this. Let me change the question a bit. Do you think that the way that the laptop story was handled 4 years ago, do you think that we're watching the transformation of Musk's plan by the fact that we can disseminate this information this year?
Oh, I think so. I think this would have been swept under the rug so fast. You know, your head would have spun, and people would still be trying to scream about it, but it would all be wrapped up in the narrative of conspiracy theories, baseless lies. The proof of the burden of evidence falls on the accuser. So I'm assuming if he's coming under oath, or he or she is coming under oath, that they're going to be able to, prove something here. And then that proof can then be, distributed freely through X, thanks to Elon Musk, thanks to the transparency that he's kind of put into the platform that didn't exist before. Yeah. I think that you're seeing, free speech kind of come into play here in a way that it never has, not that it never has before, but the way that it has not in recent memory.
Yes, and I would also say, too, it's really important to notice. That they are alleging that there are audio files that will be released related to this. Now, we don't have that up on the screen, but that is one of the allegations being made. It looks to me, too, like ABC News got wind of this, that they knew that there was going to be a whistleblower because they preemptively did an interview with the LA Times that admits much of this. And so I want to show you how they admitted it. This is out of the LA Times. Lindsay Davis, she's one of the 2 moderators, held Trump's feet to the fire, how she became ABC News' rising star. That's not your job to hold either candidate to the fire. That is the job of the candidates. So that is an active partisan moderating scheme that's totally inappropriate. And by the way, we know it's inappropriate because CNN did not do that. And ABC News was supposed to follow the same exact rules set forth for the CNN debate. We saw how that went. And you'll see why ABC decided to change that without apparently telling the Trump campaign. Presidential debates are remembered for the candidates' pithy one-liners, but in the chaotic political landscape of 2024, a simple statement of fact served as the showstopper on Tuesday's showdown between former President Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. In other words, the fact-checking of the moderator won the day, according to these people. And by the way, I think that this blew up in their faces.
This is a narrative. They're literally telling you what was the takeaway from the debate.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But I think it blew up in their faces. I think if they had backed off, they might have actually won what they wanted to do. But because they were so ham-fisted about this, it turns out that I think the general public walked away with a disdain for ABC and a disdain for what they saw. It says there is no state in the country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. That was from Lindsay Davis in the matter-of-fact style familiar to viewers who watch her on Sunday edition of ABC World News Tonight and her nightly streaming newscast, ABC News Live Prime. Now, folks, we're here to tell you, too, there was a report that came out that showed that ABC World News Tonight, that they've been 100% positive for Kamala Harris and 93% negative for Trump. So this is a corrupt organization. You should, your news organization should be aiming for a 50-50 split. That's also an incorrect assessment by the moderator. So that was an incorrect fact check because it is actually legal in places like Minnesota, where if a child is born after it was attempted to be executed in utero, then the state and the doctors have no requirement to provide life-saving care for the infant, even after it's outside the womb and live and viable. Her correction was a response.
Virginia also made it very clear that that's exactly what he thought should happen.
Exactly.
To the mother and the quote-unquote doctor.
Yep. Her correction was a response to Trump's claim that the Democratic Party's support of those particular rights includes executing a child after it's born, something he has repeatedly said on the campaign trail. In an era in which misinformation spreads fast and furious, her false real-time fact check cut through the proceedings like a sharp blade. This is what's interesting to me, though. If you go down, and not to say that the prior wasn't interesting, it's fascinating that they say Davis, and we'll skip over her stupid pink glasses, who cares, said the decision to attempt to correct the candidates was in response to the June 27th CNN debate, which was largely praised, between Trump and Biden, whose poor performance led to his exit from the race. People were concerned that statements were allowed to just hang and not be disputed by Biden or the moderators. Guys, this is totally and utterly partisan. It's just, this was a prepared attempt. And folks, you can go read this article. We'll have the link in the description. But they practiced, they rehearsed how to fact check one candidate without that candidate knowing that's what was going to happen. So I think this goes far beyond. There was the time when Crowley attempted to fact check Mitt Romney, and that was a big scandal. This was 90 minutes or however long the debate was of this prepackaged attempt to take down one particular candidate. And I think it's going to have a negative impact on the news and trust in the news. Again, I'm not here to be partisan. I'm not here to be for or against one candidate. If this was going the opposite way, I'd say this is horrible because the American people are smart enough and they are deserving enough to have a fair debate. I'll give both of you a chance to talk about what we've seen, and then I want to bring on one additional guest to give us summarizing comments. John, I'll give you the first word on it.
I think this is like what we expect, right? None of this really surprises me. As far as her preparing to interrupt or fact check, I actually don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think that reporters, journalists, etc., should be beholden to the truth. If what she's actually saying is just kind of, you take it as a blanket and she's not actually trying to spin a narrative, spin a partisan narrative, which I think is very clear that's exactly what they were trying to do. But I think you should be beholden to the truth. You shouldn't be partisan one way or the other. I also don't even think you should have this 50-50 split. I think you should be to the truth. Who cares what the split is as long as you are beholden to the truth. And I think that's really the issue at stake here, is that these people don't care about the truth whatsoever. They only care about their agenda. They care about their narrative. And at the end of the day, they care about the power that they have.
Marvin, your thoughts?
truth in journalism is something that I hold very dear in my heart. I believe that, responsible journalism is just presenting the facts to the people and allowing the people to form their own opinions based on the cold, hard facts as presented. You see something like this, if the whistleblower is proven to be true, and this is what Disney, ABC, specific campaigns are doing, this is textbook media manipulation of the people. It is propaganda. It's a farce. It's faker than pro wrestling at that point. And I think that is one of the most reprehensible things that a media outlet can do. And and this is not a something that's just ABC is the only one that tries to color the news a certain way, but this is one of the most egregious things I've ever heard in my life. And if this is true, there has to be repercussions both for Disney, for ABC, and the people need to know about it.
Well, the worst thing that could happen for Disney is for people to know about this. And there are going to be those who claim that, this is a partisan video or we're taking a side. Folks, we're not. I'm going to tell you, I have advocated for years now on this channel that Disney go to the center, that they be neutral. And this is the worst case of them not being neutral. Neutral is not taking a side. I'm attempting to advocate for the shareholders of the company. I want to show you this, and then we're going to bring on our final panelist. This is out of the Wall Street Journal. I just want people to see that this is definitely not a partisan endeavor now. This is the ending of an op-ed for the Wall Street Journal by Mark Penn. Mark Penn is a former assistant and advisor to the Clintons. Says, when referees put their thumbs on the scale, the game changes. The results have to be thrown out. We are robbed of our time, and democracy is drained of its meaning. A presidential debate shouldn't be a staged wrestling match. It should feature two candidates on a level playing field so voters can make up their minds free of interference. Anything less makes a mockery of our institutions. ABC should have fact-checked both candidates or neither. Fact-checking only one was the worst possible decision. Even a Democrat can tell a whopper. Time and again, we find that supposedly neutral democratic institutions have been corrupted by bias. And when we say that, folks, we're talking about Bob Iger and Dana Walden. Debate moderators must check their biases and seek to be scrupulously fair, or they shouldn't do the job. They should observe strict rules and come from a variety of networks. Most important, they shouldn't interfere, but rather trust voters to make their own decisions. ABC undermined the system for everyone. Let's bring in now LW Ghost. Lou, how are you today?
Oh, fair to middling. How about you guys?
Doing well. I love that phrase, fair to middling.
Yeah. I think it's fascinating that a Clinton high-level operative and Marvin, a real wrestler, both compared this to a wrestling match. So you're in good company, Marv.
So Lou, you've had the opportunity to listen to what everybody has said.
Yeah.
You are one of the most, what would we say? You are a realist among realists in this world. So tell us what you think will be the outcome of this and what you think the implications are. Of
there's a couple of things. First of all, John, with all due respect, I disagree with you because this was a debate. A debate is not the arena for a news person to be an arbiter of or a disputer of facts. A debate is a place to say, tell us what you think, and we'll shut up and listen. And then the people and other commentators and news people and everybody else will have their say on whether you told the truth or lies. We see every time there's a debate for dog catcher, somebody does he told lies 17 times and she told lies only 34 times, and whatever, go at it, decide what you think is a lie, but not by the person sitting there as the judge watching the balls and strikes or the footfalls and lines of the thing. So in that sense, I think it's just, in theory, wrong to do that in that instance. Now, as far as this whole situation of net and investors, Pro, remember how I've been saying that the more things were revealed by Peltz and the more the mismanagement or shady management or whatever you want to call it of Iger came out in the last proxy fight, that a lot of financial advisors, maybe not at the level of these massive funds, but certainly at the level of, I'm an investor and my local guy at the local brokerage told me this was a good company to invest in. At a certain point, the straw that breaks the camel's back is when their own credibility is in dismay, not Disney's. They all know Disney is left, whether they like that or not. I don't know. Some of them, they can't all be on the left. But the level at which them telling people this is a great rock solid company being perfectly run and none of this will ever affect them affects their own credibility if the truth comes out and it goes the other way. That's when they'll start to abandon them and not before. They're in it for themselves. They're in it for themselves. But the biggest to me about all of this is the sheer stupidity of it. You know, the idea that we're supposed to think that anything we do is not sooner or later going to come out. Now, this whistleblower seems, based on all this legal framework and the fact that this happened before the actual debate, do it very carefully and with very expert legal assistance. I'd love to know who the lawyer is. I'd hire him if I needed one. If this is all verified, as it clearly to me will be, or they wouldn't have started the fight. And if it is, secondly, the timing of when did they, was it immediately after the Biden debacle debate, or was it immediately after she took over, or when that they said, we're not far enough ahead, we're going to have to do this, and suddenly got on it? That will be fascinating. That will be fascinating. When the alarm bell rang enough for them to say, who cares if it comes out? And it won't anyway, because we're God. As I typed at you when you guys were talking earlier. When you said ham-fisted, I said translate that to the word hubris. And as I said, they do not believe their excrement has an odor.
No, it's Bob Almighty running Disney, and Kamala and Dana seem to be it's not unison.
It's not just Bob. It's Bob sets the standard of what you do if you want to get ahead here. So everybody does it, including people who've only seen Bob at a company picnic. Exactly. They just follow. They're about. Everybody's about themselves. You know, on the show House, he says everybody lies. Well, yep, they sure do.
Yep. But we don't on live air right here.
No,
folks.
Never would. But again, all you have to know is that this guy, who is obviously a wrestling fan, Mark Penn, was, he's telling you, this is wrong and this shouldn't. This is the guy under whose leadership of the Clinton campaign and organization, Donna Brazile, who worked for Clinton, gave the questions to Hillary. And the question from that is not that it happened, or not that it caused a scandal, or not that it cast doubt on the media. It's that she's still working. And now she works for this same organization, ABC.
Who would have thought it?
She's being, you stockholders, she's being paid money that comes off the bottom line from the millions and millions of dollars your company is making on Disney Plus. Oh, wait, they aren't. I don't think they have any to spare to pay Donna Brazile to be involved in their news coverage.
Well, we'll have to wrap it there, Lou. But I want to say, folks, we're doing our very best to bring you the news as we see it in the most accurate and correct way we can.
Let me just
Lou and I only lie about putting our hands in the real cookie jar. We lie to our wives. We didn't eat two cookies
this morning,
just one cookie.
But let me just say one last thing.
Go for it.
The best podcast, in my opinion, on the air right now, if you care about politics, regardless of your bias, is Megyn Kelly's. And when this whole thing hit the fan, do you know what she said? She said,
"We can't repeat it, Lou. We can't repeat what she said. I saw it."
I don't mean her language.
Go ahead. Paraphrase.
I don't mean her language. What she said is, if Trump or any future Republican candidate in this atmosphere ever agrees to participate in a debate run by any of the mainstream media ever again, they deserve this stuff. They deserve what they get, because they should have known the idea. And to a certain degree, you know, that's Trump. That's his ego. That's his hubris of, I can go toe to toe with those guys. And he did. But still, don't give them the chance by not letting them run the show. It's just that simple.
Exactly.
None of these people should be anywhere near a debate. A commentary, a reaction to the debate, a fact check. Hey, go at it. That's what you do. But
folks, you can help us keep the
neutral
light.
arbiter. It ain't going to happen.
Folks, you can help us keep the lights on this show by clicking the like button, share, subscribe,
That's
click
true.
it, stick it to the algorithms, hit the notification bell, drop a comment down below, let us know your thoughts on all of this, and hopefully we can get to a future place where both sides are free from being taken down by ill-intended collaborators colluding against them behind the scenes. No bueno for the electoral process that we believe in here on this channel. Folks, make sure that you go subscribe immediately to the Trent Report, where you will find fantastic news coverage of everything pop culture. Also, check out Tooneytown TV and Tooneytown Wrestling, and Lou Wasserman's Ghost will be on all kinds of member-exclusive content right here, as well as doing his own show on T3PO Live. Folks, until the next time we see you, we're hoping you are making the world a better place and doing good. Remember, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Wilton, what are you doing?
Well, word on the street is the culture war has officially made it to the doorstep of that Park Place. And I realize Jonas has no one there who loves him. So I thought I should go and protect them.
Yeah, okay. You know that's not, how you do this, right?
Do what? Fight? Don't worry, Floral. I will not be intimidated by a criminal threat.
Threat? Wilton, don't be ridiculous.
What does it matter to me? I have only one life to lose.
I mean, I totally expected you to die walking into traffic, but,
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Okay, just stop. This is just nonsense. You already have one of the easiest and most effective tools and weapons at your fingertips.
My axe?
No. The truth. Stay smart and ready to tell and share the truth by keeping up to date with WDW Pro, That Park Place, as well as Valiant Renegade. Don't
And Jonas? I mean, he does things with Vash, and that's not very reassuring. That's like putting two helpless chipmunks into a piranha pond.
That's neither true nor accurate. Unlike the team from That Park Place.
Sue me.
Ugh.